In conversation with Rachel Clarke, Rachael A. Clarke is an author, illustrator living in Portage La Prairie, Manitoba. When not working on writing projects, she's enjoying family time, acting in community theater, or relaxing at the lake. A multi-genre short fiction has won international short story competition, including the Writers' Walkout, Writers' Game, Writers' Weekly 24-hour Context, and Red Pigium Book Humor Contest, along with being a Futurescapes Award finalist 2021 and a Dark Sea Award finalist 2022. Rachel A. Clark Stories Becoming Grace won the 2023 Write Fighters 3-day novella challenge, and her tale have been featured in various publications. To learn more about Rachel Clarke, please visit our website at www.rachelclarkwright.com. And on today's episode of Author Interview, it's my utmost pleasure and joy to have on the show today, Rachel A. Clarke. How are you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for having me here. I'm really excited to talk with you about writing and publishing and all kinds of good stuff today. So, yeah.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure as well. And I love your excitement and energy already. Yeah, thank you for coming on. Much appreciated. And also, Rosha, could you tell us about your science fiction novel, Race to Novels, which I found the description page of it to be quite alluring and quite captivating. Being the fact that it's been a while that I read science fiction. And I'd love to ask you, how did this book come about? What inspired you to write Race to Novels?
Yeah, good question. The inspiration really came to me, well, kind of organically. I like to write a lot of stories through competitions. So I do short story competitions, and there was a
Mm,
competition called the Writers' Games that I had entered back. I think it was 2020. Anyway, and one of the challenges was a building challenge.
mm,
And so from that, I was like, well, I'm gonna have to create a whole new world. And I love sci-fi. I've grown up watching science fiction all my life.
interesting.
And and I thought, I started thinking about, I also love horses. I really obsessed with horses since I was a little girl. And I thought, okay, what would
Mm,
horses look like in the future?
mm,
What would change? What would be the same? Would there even be horses? Would they be robotic? All these questions about what that would be many
mm,
years from now. And that's where it started. I got this idea for a horse that was bionic. It has four metal prosthetic legs and an ocular implant that changes color with it, whatever
mm.
mood the horse is in. So if it's happy, sad, worried, scared, in pain. And and the story just kind of took off from there. That's where I got the inspiration. It was really from the horse. The horse's name is Hercules. I call him Herc
Wow.
for short. So, yeah, and the whole world, all the characters, everything just took off from that central idea. So that's kind of the inspiration behind. And also, too,
Yeah.
I love watching movies, and
Oh.
I'm a movie buff. I'm sure a lot of people are. And there was a few movies that really kind of provided some inspiration for the
Mm.
concept of the novel as well. So those were Hidalgo, which was about like a really epic horse race,
Oh.
Avatar, and also the TV show Firefly, and the movie Aliens. So because there are
Mm.
creatures in my story as well that come out of the woodwork.
Interesting.
So yeah.
That's
hmm
quite interesting, really. I love your description of this. Sounds quite amazing to me, really. So thank you for sharing. And as you were speaking, I'm quite curious and surprised as to how you come about the title, Race to Novels. Would you like to tell us how the title came to be? And if you have a copy of the book, please show it to the camera, just so we
Oh,
can see what it
absolutely.
looks like.
Sure. This is Race to Novus, and it's
You may want to talk about the cover design as well. I think I'm saying something right there, like a character.
yep, sure. So the design was done by my publisher, Cloaked Press. So and they wanted to
Oh,
show a strong female protagonist as well as the
interesting.
horse, so they could see a little bit a snippet of a horse
Yeah.
with prosthetics and an ocular implant there, and something that would show that it's a sci-fi western, right? So we have a bit of
Mm,
that western flair. She's got a gun on her hip. but it's just still futuristic looking. So
Oh,
yeah, it was kind of a nice way to show what people might be in for when they're going to pick up the book, right?
absolutely.
Is it? Um, you know, the word novus means I can't remember if it was Latin, but it means new.
Oh,
It's another version of the word new, so something that's new. And it just kind of just came to me that okay, this is they're going on this big journey, this race, this kind of nebulous, mysterious race through a jungle.
hmm,
And on the other side is a brand new settlement that they haven't even really built yet, and that's what they're racing for is to get earn a bunch of money to start up
hmm.
and also to get free land in this new settlement on the other side of this
Wow.
jungle. So that's why I thought, well, race to Novus, like let's just call it Novus. It's a brand new settlement, and I thought that was kind of a fitting name, and it struck me that it needed to be also the name of the book. So
Yeah, it's actually a fitting name and it sounds quite science fictional.
thank you.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Now let's talk about the themes in your book. For readers who haven't read the book yet, and of course, without giving much information away, could we have a sneak of what you'd expect in terms of themes picking up race to novels?
Okay, sure, yeah, themes. Well, I mean, there's a lot of different themes and different genres that I've mashed into the book. Obviously, it is a sci-fi western.
Yeah,
And there's also hints of romance.
interesting.
Lots of thrilling, like it's a thriller also at its core because there's this creature feature aspect to it. I would say as far as themes go, there's definitely there's like that hint of the romance, like I talked about. There is that it would be a friends to lovers theme, and it's a slow burn. So we
Mm,
just kind of slowly go into that with our my main character Finn Rucker and another character named Griggs within the story. There's also kind of a found family element. Uh,
oh,
so this Finn Rucker, she's kind of down on her luck and she's coming from hardships in her past. She really feels quite alone. One of her only friends is really her horse. And then she jumps into this wild race situation
mm,
and meets people. And these people actually are people that kind of get her and are behind her. And so, yeah, she starts to kind of make friendships and have that care that she's kind of been craving. So that's a really nice
interesting.
theme within the story is finding that newfound family, the family you choose, kind of in a way.
Mm,
And then there's also, there's a not so nice corporation involved. So
mm,
there's a theme of that corporate, you know,
oh.
corruption. There's corruption, and yeah,
That's actually amazing, really. I love hearing about these themes incorporated in a single book. Sounds quite lovely and a bit compelling as well. Yeah, so thank you. Thank you for mentioning. Thank you.
yeah,
Now,
you're
I'd
very
also like
welcome.
to ask you, as to the process of writing this book, I would love to ask, how do you generate your story ideas? I don't know if this is something you love to talk about, would you?
Yeah, sure. Um, Gosh, I mean, where don't you get ideas? They're everywhere, right? I mean, it's everywhere you go, whatever you see, whatever you do, whatever you feel, touch, experience, feel, like all that. It's just I really I'm a people watcher and I'm a world watcher, and
Hmm.
I have been fortunate enough to have done a lot of kind of wild and interesting things in my life and with my careers. And yeah, I was a police officer for almost 10 years. And, there's lots of,
Hmm.
you see different facets of humanity through that job and all
Hmm.
kinds of different emotions. And so, yeah, I get a lot of ideas from just things that I've experienced, but also too, I'm a fantastical person. My mind goes a million different directions. So usually what I
Absolutely.
do is I kind of get a story seed. I think of something, but just like I did with Race to Novus, I think of a horse. What would it look like in the future? I take an
Hmm.
idea and I abstract it, like how can I break this down and twist it and morph it into something that's completely new?
Absolutely.
And that's often where I kind of get my most unique ideas is just by playing with
Hmm.
something that maybe would be benign or normal to someone else and making it
Yeah.
into something totally different and maybe fantastical or creepy or whatever. So yeah.
I love hearing about this. I love hearing about this. This is quite compelling. Quite lovely to get to know how you came about your story ideas. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Yeah, and now let's talk about, feedbacks and criticism. As authors, we all have different ways of reacting to feedbacks and reviews and criticism of our works. And I'm curious to ask you, as someone who has written in the genre of fiction, science fiction per se, how do you handle criticism as a writer, be it positive or negative? And I would love you to want to speak more on how you react to the negative one per se, if you've ever had one in time past.
Well, any positive is awesome. I mean, you love hearing that. It's gonna, make your day, right? It's like, yay,
Absolutely.
they liked my work and got something out of it. That's what you want, and that's I think what all writers are writing for.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, the negative criticism and negative feedback that comes with the territory of being a writer, unfortunately.
Mm,
Um, we become vulnerable. We put our work out there, and with that, not everyone's going to like it, or they're going to find something that they want to tell you maybe needs work or whatever.
yeah.
It can be hard to hear. It's you have to develop a bit of a thick skin, and I admittedly don't always have as thick a skin as I should.
Mm,
It can bother me sometimes when you just know say someone's particularly harsh. But I know writing friends of mine have often said that just have a good wallow, feel bad for that day and just
mm.
oh that sucks, but then move on from it. Try and let it roll off
Absolutely.
of your back, right? And then take the bits that are helpful and use those to make your writing
Absolutely.
better, and then let
Yeah.
the rest kind of go,
Yeah.
so
Oh, wow. I love your take on criticism. This is quite very beautiful and very educative as well. Yeah, I love your take on this is quite very great, actually. Because there are some that you might need to use, the constructive ones, the one you feel that, oh, yeah, I think this is coming from a truthful heart. This is coming from a genuine reader and a place of correction. Genuine, not the other way around that, we often experience as writers very much
right.
as well. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
adding that. Thank you. I know we've mentioned ideas already, but then I'd love to talk about how you came about your inspiration to writing this book. As someone myself was love reading and interviewing authors, I've always been fascinated and surprised and taken aback by how writers, especially novelists like yourself, craft long sentences, and bring works together in a way that it eventually makes a great novel. And this often leaves me thinking about how exactly they got the ideas and inspiration to pull these works together. I mean, certain works coming together to make a page, to make so many chapters, and an amazing book eventually. And this got me asking, how did they do it? Where are these words coming from? I mean, how is it possible to put these things together? And hilariously, I was reading the book before I jump into this interview, and it was a fantasy novel. And as I was reading, I was nodding my head. I was like, "Wow, how did Craig come up with all of this? This is quite impressive." Yeah, so this always leave me wondering how they come about this idea to put these things together. Now, as far as writing is concerned, I love to ask you too. How do you get your inspirations and ideas to write your book? Where did they come from?
Yeah, I mean, I know we touched on it a little bit before, so it's,
Yeah.
you are fed by your experiences and everything.
Mm,
I know I'm a very visual person, so I know I get a lot of ideas by just watching movies and soaking things in that way. So I'll see,
yeah.
like even say with sci-fi, it's technology based. So like,
Yeah.
you see a technology maybe that someone else has incorporated into a show or a book or that, anywhere else, and like you think that that's pretty neat. But maybe you can expand on that or change that, like, or
Mm,
you look at something like say like this coffee cup. Well, this is how I use it.
yeah.
And in the future, maybe they have some sort of like special appendage that comes into your mouth directly, or they wear it on their back, or it's attached to their head. Like, who knows? So like you can kind of just play with different things and find fun ideas that can work for that within the
Yeah.
world that you're creating. And something
Mm,
functional too. That like,
yeah.
what's functional for your story? What do they need at that moment that could help them, carry on or do what they need to do? So, and just being a visual person, I've told other people this. I look at my little quirk is I look at pre-made book covers, and like that can give me a lot of great inspiration for story ideas. So I can just see this cover, and if it really hits me and it's gorgeous, and it brings a bunch of ideas into my mind, and all of a sudden I
Mm,
can spitball, and all of a sudden I have this new novel idea. And if
mm.
if it's really good, if I love it enough, I'll even buy the cover because someday I'm going to write that book, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I kind of go all over the place with getting ideas. I really don't have one specific little narrow way of generating them, but I think you just have to go with the flow on your story and really just think outside of the box a lot of the time.
Yeah, that's great actually. But one of the things that stuck with me the most, or that surprises me the most, is the fact of how writers get to keep with consistency in their story. I mean, you've written something in chapter one, you have an amazing character, and over again, it keeps switching from one to another. The words are coming, and it's making a beautiful storyline, transitioning from one plot to another. I mean, the stance of keeping that consistency on and on often surprised me that, and you guys are not missing it somewhere. I mean, you're not twisting it somewhere that we can say, oh yeah, I said a mistake right there. But to make it flow in an amazing, beautiful, awesome manner, I think this is actually a call for celebration. And one of the things we always keep saying that writers need to be praised more for their works, to be commended more for their works, because it's not an easy, but it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy role to write. It's not an easy thing to put this works together. But then for someone to come up with an amazing story, a lovely book, it really owns an amazing celebration. Yeah. It's quite
No.
commendable, I'd say.
Oh, wow, that's great to hear. Yeah, I mean, it is definitely hard. It's hard work, not
Yeah,
everyone can write a book. Um,
absolutely.
so yeah, celebrate it, right?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. Now, apart from race to novels, do you have any other works you've authored or say currently working on?
Yeah, I am working on, I'm always working on too much. So I'm working on a sci-fi novella right now, which actually won a contest, the Right Fighters 3-day novella challenge.
Oh,
And I'm expanding it. So hopefully it'll actually turn into a short novel when it's done. So I'm working on that, which is exciting. I'm also working on my next children's chapter book, which is the sequel to The
interesting.
Big Old Bike. This was my very first ever published book, and it's for
Oh,
children ages 7 to 10, and I wrote and illustrated
interesting.
that. So I'm working on the sequel for that, and the sequels for Race to Novus. There's going to be three of them, so a
Wow.
trilogy. And then I also have I have a couple other books, but I also have Let Your Lips Twitch, which is if you like kind of
Oh.
something that's heartwarming or something that will make you smile or giggle, this is the book that you want. It's just full of humorous short stories that I've written over the
Hmm.
years. So, but yeah, I do a bunch, and then if anyone that goes on my website would be able to see all the books that I have written and what's currently being worked on, and yeah,
That's
some
amazing,
variety.
actually. It's obvious you've got quite a lot ongoing. I hope you find some times to sleep.
Me too. I have two young kids as well, so yeah, sleep is always comes at a premium, I guess. But
Yeah. And also I need to commend, you winning several awards and several contexts. That's quite a great one too. Congratulations on that.
oh, thank you. Thanks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good validator. It helps you kind of realize that you're
absolutely.
on the right track, right? And it's like, oh, okay,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Now, could you tell us what publishing is like for a published author like yourself? Because I know that with different author, publishing, differs from author to author, especially if you're writing on a different genre. So you're writing in the theme of poetry, you're writing a fiction, you're writing non-fiction, all of a different sort of experiences with publishing. I'd love to ask you, are there any challenges you've encountered in the process of writing your book and also ever since it got published?
I mean, there's always ups and downs. For me, I know just getting my name out there, the marketing aspect of book publishing, is the biggest challenge. I mean, I take courses and I soak it all in and learn as much as I can and do as much as I can with the time that I have.
Yeah,
But there's always something more to learn or something you could do better, or,
yeah.
if you had an infinite amount of money, maybe that could make a lot bigger, change
Mm,
in that. But So the marketing is definitely a learning curve and a challenge, but it's definitely something that if you kind of keep working at it, it can be attained and worked on. So I don't want to
Mm,
like deter any, new writers out there from, worrying about that part of it. It's just we just have to keep plugging away at it.
yeah,
Um, that's probably my biggest challenge when it comes to this whole adventure of writing and publishing. So yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, and we know that, this is one of the things that we encounter as writers. We always try to get our name out there. And that's
Hmm.
actually where the actual work lies in. The writing aspect is quite fun. Great, you have a book out there. Wonderful, fantastic. But then it's a lot of work trying to get the name out to the public to let people be aware that, yeah, I have a book right here that's available for purchase at so price here over there. Yeah, so yeah, it's something that we're trying to build more and more and have more people being aware of the works we've got out there already in the literature space. So yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're very welcome. And thank you for having this type of an
Absolutely.
interview. I mean, this helps get the word out for publishers and
Yeah.
writers, right? So that's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And as a published author, Rachel, I'd love to ask you, what sort of advice do you offer other writers who are still struggling with writing and publishing a book in the theme of science fiction? Yeah, love to put it that way. If you have any advice for people in this category, that would be great to hear.
Um, for anyone that's still like that's writing the book and thinking about what to do next, that I always tell them if they haven't gotten this already is to
Yeah,
find a wonderful supportive writing group and critique partners
yeah,
because writing the book is it is a big part of this is just getting the words on the page and getting that first draft done, but then
mm,
having someone who can give you that feedback sandwich, like this is great, and but maybe this needs a bit of work, and then but
mm,
no, and then this is really great too, like having someone that you can trust and isn't going to be super harsh but will be constructive with their feedback and help you
yeah,
grow and learn and improve and make your book the best it can be is really invaluable. And it's
mm,
tit for tat, you can do that for them with their work as well. So yeah, I always
absolutely.
tell people to really find a really good writing group and start creating connections in the writing world that way, because it'll serve you for many, many years to come. And
Wow.
you can get lots of advice and guidance and stuff too, which, yeah, that's my
Yeah.
big advice.
And there are a lot of those writing groups on Facebook. We've got a lot of them where people go to and share ideas, ask questions, get direction and get help as well, literature wise. Yeah.
Hmm.
That's great. Thank you for an amazing advice. And I'm hoping that viewers would love to utilize it. Yeah. So before we call it a day today, Rachel, is there anything that you'd love to share with the viewers about your book that we did not mention in this interview and you'd love the viewers to know?
Um, I mean, just that it's, the first book, Race to Novus, is available anywhere books are sold, especially on, it's on Amazon and Kindle. So take a chance on it, check it out. If you've never read a sci-fi Western before, I
Mm,
encourage you definitely to give it a go. And it is a really fun, I didn't really actually tell you the premise of the book, so I'll just really quickly say that. Finn Rucker, she's a down on the luck cowgirl. She's been in debt and made
mm,
lots of bad decisions, and she's seeking this to atone and to find a new way of life and fresh start, that whole Western vibe. So she
mm,
whisks her bionic horse away to the edge of explored space, where she enters this race to Novus, a nebulous, mysterious, dangerous race, and it all
mm.
goes sideways from there. So, yeah,
Wow.
it's a thrill ride. So I just encourage people to take a chance on it. Give it a try, and I bet you, if you're a lover of any type of space, like sci-fi or Western, it's
Like me.
worth reading. So yeah, and check me out on my website. All my social medias are there.
Yeah.
Follow me, hit me up. I love connecting with other creatives. So I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, and I left a link in the discussion part of this interview where interested viewers can get a copy of Rachel Clarke's books directly on Amazon and also another platform. I also left link to our website and social media handles. So thank you so much, Rachel, for accepting the invitation to be featured on P English Literature. It's awesome having this conversation around your literature works.
Well, thanks again for inviting me. It's been wonderful. It's great to meet you.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure as well.